Hello, my name is Kyle Woodall. I'm be starting a video Bible devotional, and which I'll be posting daily videos of Bible readings and discussion about what those verses mean. My main goal is to encourage fellow believers, and for those who don't believe, to convince them to start believing. So today's verse we're going to start in is Psalm 46, 1 through 11, and it says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I'll be exalted among the nations. I'll be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. So, a lot to look over there in this verse. But the big thing that it starts off is talking about how God's our refuge at all times. He's our source of strength, the one to turn to for help. And when we turn to Him, we should do it completely submitted to His chosen outcome. So many times people turn to God during a time of trouble with an expectant result. And when God does not do it the way they had desired, they get mad at Him. No matter what happens, we should not have fear. Even when the most fearful things imaginable are happening, we are not to fear. I admit I struggle with this daily. At times I get consumed with fear about all the worst things that happen to me or my family. It paralyzes me and distracts me from God, who should always have my attention. And when fear begins to grip me, I need to turn back to God. I have to let Him be in control. And letting go of control is hard. We think that we can do things better. We have our own solutions to the problems, but they are only based on our perspective, which we can miss important details that God never misses. Our message and timing can be off. God will always help at the right time with the right message. He's never early or late. He's always on time to the very second. And for impatient people like me, it has me struggling. But anyways, He is always on time. And we have seen and heard of His great works. We see all these great things He has done. And they testify that He is worthy, that He is trustworthy, that we can trust Him to take care of us. This is His resume to remind us that He is perfect and able to deliver us. And our constant thoughts in life should be, to be still and know that I am God. So in other words, we wait on God's orders. Sometimes He'll do the work, and other times He'll send us to do it for Him. But we need to wait on His word. We should never try to do it without Him. So the whole goal here is to make God exalted among the nations and the earth. The whole focus here is God. And if we ever do this for our own benefit or for our own glory, we're not doing it for God. So we need to take our focus off ourselves and place it on Him alone. And our purpose should be to exalt Him in both the good times and the bad. A good example of exalting God in the face of opposition I see is Acts 4, 1 through 4, and then 13 through 22. There we go. It says, Now as they spoke to the people, the priests, the captain of the temple, and the Sadducees came upon them, being greatly disturbed that they taught the people and preached in Jesus the resurrection from the dead. And they laid hands on them and put them in custody until the next day, for it was already evening. However, many of those who heard the word believed, and the number of the men came to be about 5,000. Verse 13. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were uneducated and untrained men, they marveled. They realized that they had been with Jesus. And seeing the man who had been healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it. When they had commanded them to go outside of the council, they conferred among themselves, saying, What shall we do to these men? For indeed that a notable miracle has been done through them is evident to all who dwell in Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it. But so that it spreads no further among the people, let us severely threaten them, that from now on they speak to no man this name. So they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Jesus. But Peter and John answered and said to them, whether it is right in the sight of God to listen to you more than to God, you judge. For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard. So when he had further threatened them, they let them go, finding no way of punishing them because of the people, since they all glorified God for what had been done. For the man was over 40 years old on whom this miracle of healing had been performed. So, in the earlier chapter, in chapter 3 before this, Peter and John healed a lame man. They grabbed this man's hand, and he pulled him up, and he was able to begin walking. And it was a great miracle. Everyone was praising God, and then they were arrested for it. So, this man, when he was healed, he was praising God. He stayed near to Peter and John. The crowd was amazed. The people placed their trust in Jesus. That's an awesome testimony of God's power, and would be encouraging to people if it ended just there. But opposition came. Believers must always be ready to proclaim God and be ready to encounter opposition. There will be people who will come against us. People will call what we say is foolish, or that we are ignorant, or they will come against you because they do not want to follow God. So Peter and John were used by God to help a man, and they convinced 5,000 people, this is not including women and children that may have been there, to believe on Jesus. Then they got arrested. That can be scary for any person to get arrested. I get scared when I get pulled over by a cop. Now, to add to the matter, they are examined by the religious leaders of their day, the educated elite. Remember, Peter was a fisherman that had only spent 3 years with Jesus in prison. In the respect of the world, that is like a debate between a high school graduate and a person with a PhD. Most people would think the high school graduate would get destroyed by the PhD. Now, in verse 13, they admit that Peter and John were educated. Okay, they knew, they have not gone to the formal training. But what they're saying, man, they were with Jesus. They know stuff. They speak with authority. They're speaking boldly. They did not do it shy. They're like, oh yeah, we want you to, follow Jesus. No, they're like, Jesus has come to save you. No, they declared without any fear. They declared this as truth, and the leaders could not discredit the miracle, but still try to tell them to stop proclaiming Jesus. Now, the whole key to how Peter and John were able to speak so boldly and courageously to these men of prominence, these elite men in these positions, who had connections to beat these men, and actually later on in verse 5 they do beat them, on a different occasion when they arrest them, if they so desired, is found in verse 19. They say, whether it is right in the sight of God to listen to you, or God, you judge. Okay, they were directly stating that they were testifying of God's power in regards to Jesus, and there was a direct challenge to the leaders. You can't debunk this miracle, yet you have the audacity to tell them to stop doing such things. Peter and John's focus was on God. God was their source of strength. They did not fear punishment or death. They had surrendered control of their lives to God and would only proclaim the name of Jesus in their ministry. We must be ready to give account of God at any time without fear, ready for any outcome whenever we do it. Thank you for listening, and remember, Jesus is coming soon, so keep continuing to work until you see him in that bright blue sky.